Ready. Okay, we're going to call our Parks and Rec Commission meeting to order on November 1st at 7 p.m. Our first line of business is approval of the special meeting minutes from October 4th. That was the one that we hosted at Campbell Park. Oh, sorry, roll call.
All right, Commissioner Bites. Commissioner Doherty. Here. Commissioner Fidrich. Here. Commissioner Lee. Here. Commissioner, Commissioner Teeter. Here. Vice Chair Mitchell. Here. And Chair Ishibashi is absent.
Now we can we get a motion to approve the special meeting minutes from October 4th?
We'll approve. All right, I will motion to approve.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Any abstains?
Yeah.
I am me too. There. Any no's? Okay, thank you.
And now, any presentations? Oral requests? No. Unfinished business? Okay. We'll move on to new business. Los Gatos Creek Trail update.
Phase slide. This is the existing pavement as we started the project. Pretty bad shape, a lot of cracks, discoloration. There we go. The asphalt's a little more of a grayish color, so it's really weathered and tattered. So this really shows you what the existing condition was before we started. Also, if you look here, and I'll show you more on the second slide, but if you look right up here, there's a blackish area. We did quite a few patches on this trail too. Most of you that have walked it probably noticed there was asphalt that was sticking up. 99% of the time it's caused by tree roots and it's uplifted. You can tell this one's by an area of trees here. So this was an area that was patched and taken care of. So next slide. Okay. So in this picture here, if you look kind of this outlined area here, this was another area that was repaired that was really lifted really bad. This is right by the spillway. This area was taken care of due to the tree roots here, and that area was repaired also, taken care of. So all in all, on the asphalt repairs, there was about 20 locations that we did out there in the first phase of work. And just to let everyone know, the first phase of work was from Campbell Park heading south to the spillway, which is at Camden. That was our first order of business, was both the west and the east side. So there was exactly about 20 locations, 30 tons of asphalt was put down there. Okay, so this is the actual overcoat that we put down on the asphalt. Most of you are probably thinking, well, what is overcoat? You should just make it look black. The overcoat is actually like if you were going to paint your home and you had paint that is weathered and open to the exposure and stuff. The overcoat, what it does, it reseals the asphalt again on the top surface. It actually tightens up all the loose fines and stuff that are on top. So you get that nice black finish, but our whole purpose of doing this is to prolong the life of the asphalt. So you can see here in the tight areas when we're doing paving and overcoat, what I'm showing is that some of the areas have to be done by hand, and I'll show you the next slide. We'll show you with the machine, but this area here is by the spillway also. So the material is dumped out of 5-gallon buckets. Then we have one maintenance gentleman here that is actually applying the overcoat to that area to bring it out to the actual trail. And that's used with the rubber squeegee there. Just think of that as a big paintbrush if you're painting your homes. Next slide, please. Okay. If you see here, this is our overcoat machine. It has squeegees on the back here. And you can see along the edge, or you can see we have one of our maintenance workers with a squeegee there in his hand. And what he's doing the fine edges. So he's cutting in. So you're actually like trimming, you're doing painting to trim on your house. You're trying to make a nice straight line and everything. And then what happens is once he's done, you can see we've made one pass with the machine. And that machine will bring the material down and spread it out. And what it does when it's spreading that material, if you noticed in the other first slide, you can see a lot of the large cracks in the areas that are dried out. That goes on and seals everything. So, like I said, like putting paint on your home. This material has oils in it, different types of emulsions. It's got sand. And then what we do to help it out is we add 2% latex, which gives it elasticity. So contraction, the heat and the cold, it helps out with that. It doesn't want to crack and break. It's a little more flexible. With this little machine, we were able to put down 3,500 gallons of material with that, of overcoat material. And that was able to finish up both sides of that. And then if you look here, this is what the finished product looks like. Once it's all done, once we spread everything out, you can see you have a nice new black surface. It's aesthetically pleasing, but it's obviously doing its job. It's to seal the asphalt, takes care of the edges that are maybe breaking off, seals the areas that we patched out there also. And then once we sealed everything, if you look here, you can see everything was completely restriped on it. There was all the striping was done. And then we had some actual signage that was along the trail that we replaced too, that was faded and worn out. So all in all, I thought the project went very well. Our streets division did a really nice job on taking care of that. I don't know if anybody's been out there. Maybe they did the run, and Todd said that's why he got third place, because it was so smooth. he was gliding. So this first phase is done. Just to let everybody know, the next phase will be in springtime. And what that'll go is springtime, we will start from Campbell Park, and we will work our way north to Bascom Avenue to the city limit. And that section will be done. That'll be done in 2 phases. We'll do one section, and then we'll go ahead and open that up and do another section. So we don't have to detour people so far from Bascom all the way down to Hamilton. To Campbell Park. So we're looking forward to doing that probably springtime again with the weather, because it's hard to put this overcoat down in wintertime. It just doesn't dry. The top surface will dry and the bottom doesn't. But really happy. The guys did a really nice job. And my whole thing for showing all the slides, I'm sorry they weren't super interesting, but I wanted to show you how much labor goes into actually doing this work. And, just giving the guys credit, they did a lot of work out there. So. Does anybody have any questions?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it. We'll get the other portion done. And you'll probably notice we'll be doing some other projects around the city too. We'll be doing community center. Natasha with you will be addressing that maybe in the next year. So yeah. So, thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for the update. Story walk in a local park.
So I just want to introduce, this is Nicole King from the Campbell Library, and she brought forward an idea. They did a temporary one at the community center, but brought forward an idea that she has pitched to us. And so we're starting with the Park and Recreation Commission as kind of a temperature check on your thoughts and getting some feedback. And so we're not looking for a vote on anything this evening. We're just simply looking for your insight and feedback on whether or not this is something we should pursue as staff. If it is, staff would bring back a more formalized report in the future, which then you could approve and forward on to council. So with that, Nicole, it's all yours.
Like half my slides, everything she just said. Yes, could you put my, thank you. Yes, so my name is Nicole King. I'm the community librarian at the Campbell Library, and I'm here to talk about a possibility for the city of Campbell and the Santa Clara Library District to work together to create a story walk in a park somewhere here in Campbell. Next slide. And then before we talk about that, I always want to talk about our strategic plan and just talk about how this project fits into that. At the Santa Clara County Library District, you belong and connect and discover. We have 4 priorities. We welcome, we listen, we inspire, and we innovate. And then this specifically falls under 4 of our priorities. Welcome, use innovative service models to connect community members with the library. Listen, value the voices of our patrons, our communities, and our partners. Inspire, build the foundations of literacy with our community and create a comprehensive district-wide literacy program plan. And also innovate, foster a culture of curiosity and opportunity. So what is a story walk? So a story walk pairs reading with an outdoor activity to promote literacy, movement, exercise, and family engagement. It takes pages from a children's book and attaches them to signs which are installed along an outdoor path with the idea that you could walk the path and then read the story as you're walking. Next slide. And why would we want to do a story walk? It's good to develop library, city, and community partnerships, promotes physical activity and also healthy lifestyles, promotes early literacy, encourages families to engage in literacy and exercise together. Family members play a vital role in helping children to develop a joy of learning, and story walks provide an opportunity for families to build values, traditions, make memories together. And it's also an opportunity for children to learn new words, describe things and events, and learn how to follow a story in sequence, which are all really important for early literacy. Next slide. So as Natasha mentioned, we have done a story walk before at some of our locations. We did have temporary locations at the Campbell Library, Express Library in the Rec Center, as well as in Cupertino, Los Altos, Milpitas, and Morgan Hill. This is what we had. It was temporary, and we used it at the community center mostly to guide people to where the new library location was. And they're not permanent. They kind of resemble like lawn signs. And they didn't, I would say they didn't really hold up very well. And it was while we were having a lot of rain and this last, trees fell down and everything like that. So, so I ended up removing them, and so did the other locations. But this is just an idea of kind of what we had at the other locations and at our location. Next slide, please. So kind of a grid as far as what the responsibility or what the roles would be for various parts in the project. The hope is to replace these temporary structures with permanent story walks. And it's a project that will be funded at every location by the Santa Clara County Library District Foundation. So they will be funding the project. And the roles, like we would fund it, the hardware installation for 1 story walk per city, and work with other funding partners. And then the district would collaborate with the installation. We would handle ongoing maintenance and do a regular rotation of new stories 3 times a year. And the city role would be providing a public space for us to actually put the story walk, as well as work with us with the installation as well. They're looking, as far as the installation, that's kind of up to you guys. We could do it, you could do it, we could do it together. That's kind of something we would talk about later if we get to that point. So this is kind of an idea or what the planned frames are that we'll be doing at any of the cities or locations that want to do the story walk. It's more permanent. Those are just kind of, it was researched. It's a lot better for inclement weather. So the stories are laminated in between acrylic signs. So we don't have to worry so much about damage like we did with the more temporary ones. Next slide. And then potential stories. So there is a company that we are going to work with, most likely called Curious City. So they handle all of the things like copyright concerns and licensing the books, the stories. So we don't have to worry about that. They have bilingual options. And this is just an example of Cat's Colors. I really like what they do because they also include activities. So as you're reading, you can do activities as well. Like for example, in Cat's Colors, there's a lot of talk of different colors. So it would be like, look in the park. Do you see anything that's red? Stuff like that. So kind of engaging in that way. And they are constantly updating their inventory. There's bilingual stories, diverse stories, and those would be changed every 3 months, 3 times a year. So 4 months. Next slide, please. So an ideal location for an installation would be a city park with high visitation by young families. Ideally, a story walk would start like at a main parking lot or main entrance and follows a well-used path. You know, in a perfect world, it could lead to or past the playground. The average story length is 17 frames. And the story walk should be between 1/3 and 1/2 mile long, but all of these can be adjusted if the space doesn't fit that exactly. Next slide. So I went with a colleague out to some of the parks just to kind of see which ones I thought might work okay. So we went to Edith Morley, which we've done programs there at that park. It does have a good pathway for a story walk. It's very clean. It's an open space and secluded. There's no play structure, and there's not a lot of people there. I mean, there's lots of dogs.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know necessarily if that's good or bad. I don't know if a story walk would bring people there. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I wasn't going to say that out loud. But I like the park for myself to walk around. I also went to John D. Morgan, which is, you know, has the great inclusive playground at the beginning. It has a good pathway from the parking lot, but in walking it, I felt like people would walk in, go to the park, and then they would have to get back on the path and then keep going. Or if we started from the other side, then when they got to the park, it would be the end of the story. So I feel like I think it would be okay because I think people would go to the park, the playground, and they would do the story walk. So that I love that park. It's beautiful. So Jack Fisher Park, I really liked. It's a good neighborhood. I saw multiple points where the story walk could start. It does continue in a loop, and it does include a playground. There were lots of kids and families there. It's also on like the complete opposite side as the library. So it's kind of nice because they might get exposed to the library and maybe want to come visit. So that one was my favorite. I mean, Campbell Park is also an option, so I didn't visit that one because I already know that one, but I think that one's a good option too. Next slide. That's it. Questions? I might not have answers, but I'll try.
I have a question. The stories where we're gonna work with the company, do they change out the stories 3 times a year? Like
No, we do.
Oh, we do.
The
So we
library would
pick-
do.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we
the library maintenance.
we pick the stories from their library stories and then we change them out. Got it.
What's the age range for these stories? And the other question I have is how high are they installed? Like how high will the installation, the boards be installed?
I could find that out for you. I think the measurements might be on that one slide. And the story age, I would say is probably like toddler age, 2 to 5. Picture books. Yeah. I was look now. Oh my gosh, I'm blind. It says designed for. They have it at a 45-degree angle, so I think that really helps with reading. Standard post length is 60 inches for in-ground installation. They can do longer post lengths if we need to. I'm having a hard. I feel like 60 inches is really tall.
Well, it has to go into the
That's
ground,
really
probably.
tall.
I think that's the
I
whole.
was like,
Yeah.
maybe
It
that's
probably
the
has to go
whole
into
thing.
the
I was like,
ground
I
by,
couldn't
like, 2
even read
feet.
that. That's
Yeah.
really tall. It can't be 60.
I could barely read it.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is. Oh, the planned frames. Maybe I'm seeing the whole thing, and I'm assuming some of that's underground. The 60 thing. Yes. Okay.
It's
like-
toddler height.
Yeah. I was like, that seems really tall. It can't be 60 inches.
Just my thoughts. I kind of guessed the same thing as probably toddlers when I saw those stories, and you already have the audience there at Jack Fisher Park.
That was the first.
It just kind of seems to me that's like a natural fit there. I don't know if kids are going to walk that how long that distance is all the way around,
Yeah.
but it seems to be a pretty good fit.
It's not the 1.5 miles or whatever, that it's a lot shorter distance. That would be the only.
Oh, there it is. Sign panel mounts 28 to 32 inches from grade.
But I agree that the loop at Jack Fisher makes it like, and it is full of that. I mean, I walk through that park almost nightly. It is full of toddler age kids for sure, with families, in that neighborhood. I don't think I mean, I don't think a 2 to 4-year-old maybe doesn't need to walk a mile and a half, you know, to read the whole story, so. If
I
it's
think
that
that's why I
age
like the
kids.
activities too, because someone could just stop and read one page and then do the activities.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
really
so.
cute idea. Yeah, me too.
Library supporting so much of it, change it up.
Yeah.
Can't lose.
I know, exactly. No, yeah, I love it. I love the idea. And Jack Fisher, I'm a little biased because that's like a couple blocks, that's like a
Well, I
block away from my
also-
house.
That was also my favorite, but I didn't want to say anything.
I think at Jack Fisher, a lot of the kids use the loop to like bike and
Mhm.
scooter and, you know, go around as well, so, yeah. good fit.
Even if you had some up at the top of the pyramid thing, because they love to go down.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'll take that as a positive.
Yeah,
Just for clarification, there's consensus for staff to move forward with proceeding.
I think it's a really cool
Okay,
idea.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll bring that back to you guys, in the next month or so, and then we can develop that further and push on the council.
it's fun. Yeah. Next is Campbell Historical Museum and Ainsley House overview.
Okay, so we have some new Parks and Recreation Commissioners, and so I am taking the opportunity to share with you some of the other programs and divisions that we offer through our department. One of which is the Historical Museum in Ainsley House, which offers a variety of stuff that Carrie Perkins, our Recreation Supervisor for that division, is going to share with you tonight, and also to kind of share an opportunity for you guys to be engaged in other things outside of the, you know, traditional recreation components of what we have to offer. So with that, I'd like to introduce you our Recreation Supervisor, Carrie Perkins.
Sit on. Do I? Okay. Well, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. Some of this might be redundant for some of you who know our programs and the museums, but it's good background knowledge anyway. So I'll kind of do a high overall view of the museums and then kind of narrow focus of where we could always use help. So if we could share the slides, that would be fabulous. Okay. So as you can see, Campbell Museums, we are a part of the Recreation and Community Services Department. We are more of the Community Services Department in that regard. So next slide. And who are we? So we, the Campbell Museums consists of 2 facilities. So it's the Campbell Historical Museum, which is in Firehouse number 1, which is on the corner of Central and Civic Centers Drive, if you haven't visited, as well as the historic Ainsley House, which is a 1925 historic home. The little bonus building is the Carriage House, which is our little garage structure adjacent to the Ainsley House as well. At the Historical Museum, really it's the history of Campbell. We rotate out our exhibits. It's a 1-room exhibit hall. It's also where our museum offices are located. So if you need to find staff, we also have collections there. I'll mention in a minute. The Ainsley House, we don't have offices on site, but we do use the house frequently for volunteers and tours and gardens. We do rotate exhibits there as well, but the Ainsley House is a tour exhibit all on its own. And so just an overview, our mission really is to preserve and collect the history of Campbell within the greater context of Santa Clara Valley and interpret that history for a wide audience. So age range, demographics, background, etc. So next slide. All right, so what is the museum collection? So those are items that are within the city's collection. The city of Campbell owns the museum collection, and it consists of anything from objects like textiles, cars, books, furniture, cameras, guns, believe it or not, houses. The Ainsley House is a collection piece. We also have archival material like maps and journals and ledgers. We've got images and photographs. So our collection is over 11,000 pieces in our collection. The Ainsley House itself is roughly 95% a collection item because all of the furniture and furnishings are original to the house as well. We keep our collections in a variety of different locations. So at the Historical Museum, we have a climate controlled collection storage area where we keep our most delicate items. So archival material, images, textiles, art pieces. The Ainsley House basement as well also is climate controlled. There's a room in there. And so we have our really large furniture pieces, elements from the collection that we may not rotate in or out, but really want to make sure that they are not exposed to the elements or pests. And then we have 2 warehouses at the community center. So we have a very large warehouse with very large pieces there, like Benjamin Campbell's carriage, for example, bicycles, ovens, items from Stojanovich Park when that was cleared out, the dry grounds. We have a fruit pitter, a fruit sorter, dry trays. And then we have a smaller warehouse which houses a lot of furniture that's located kind of in the maintenance yard, and that's got couches and beauty salon elements. Fun Lum, when that restaurant closed, we have a number of pieces from there as well. And then we do have bonus collection site at the Public Works Yard where we have a couple automobiles, and then County Fire also keeps one of our vehicles for us, the Union Station. They've got our Rescue 25. We have succeeded in getting a large amount of our collection viewable online. So if you go to our Campbell Museum's website, there is a section where you can click on collection and it's searchable, and we've got images of objects on display, archival material. We don't have everything yet up on the viewable collection, but we're getting there. So it's really a bonus, and that's been happening over the last couple of years. All right, next slide. So exhibits, we do a number of different exhibits throughout the year. In our historical museum, we have 4 main exhibits, and they're thematically programmed. So the themes always are work, community, home life, and recreation. And within those themes, we rotate out an exhibit a year. Just so happened that this summer we did not rotate out an exhibit. We had just reopened last March from being closed for 3 years. So we took the opportunity with a very generous donation that we were given to actually enhance the visitor area. So if you haven't visited the museum in the last year, or if you were even there over the summer, it looks a little different now. We've gotten new interpretive panels up. Remarkably, the museum did not have any interpretive panels about the history of Campbell. So we've succeeded in getting those up. We have kind of changed out the entrance a little bit. We're getting new lighting soon, so it'll be a little bit brighter, a little more museum focused lighting, new signage up. So this process is going to continue through the next budget year, but it's looking great. Over the summer, we will rotate out our home life exhibit, and so it'll be growing up in Campbell. So every year we kind of plan a year and ahead to see which one we're going to rotate out, and it really have to plan what objects do we have, what objects can we borrow, how will it fit with our main demographic, which are school children, and can we afford to work with professional designers, etc. We also rotate out exhibits at the Ainsley House. So inside the carriage house, we've got not only a gift shop, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but we've got a video area that houses a rotating exhibit. So on display right now, we've got a medicine exhibit, so showing the history of medicine, whether it's Eastern medicine or Western medicine or Native American medicine. That will close, actually, it just closed October 31st. And so we're getting ready for the holidays, but we will reopen next year with our art exhibits, a public art show. So it's a juried art show. But that exhibit space changes every year. We are open March through October. And then we've got another space inside the Ainsley House. It's a room that we have taken off exhibit for a number of years. It's kind of the last room that when people go on a tour, they see. We call it the sleeping porch. We are going to install a temporary exhibit there, and we've done temporary exhibits in the past, and it's going to be on women who are change makers. So women from Campbell who have made change in their community in some way, whether through activism or starting special projects or running for politics, etc. The room is a little bit harder to interpret because it doesn't look like a gallery. It looks like a bedroom. And it's kind of the 15th room on a tour. And so as people take a tour, when they reach the final room, their kind of brain is on overload. And so sometimes it really works to have an exhibit there, and sometimes it's just, you know, kind of look and see. And so we're trying to make it smaller. The goal as we move forward with that space is actually to turn it into an Ainsley exhibit space. So rotating out items that people do not ever get a chance to see about the Ainsley family. So journals, letters, objects that are in our collection that we don't have on display. So that will be kind of moving forward for a plan for 2025. We also have a couple online tours. So we have a virtual tour of the Ainsley House, which has been very successful. Over COVID, we were really lucky to have someone do a Matterport scan. So it's a gentleman who works with real estate agents. And if you've ever looked at houses online, they do a full 360. Matterport is one of the companies that does this whole scan. And so we were able to work with a company and get the Ainsley House, the Carriage House, and actually the History Museum, a full 360 scan. But the Ainsley House, we really turned into a unique virtual tour because you can kind of make points of interest as you create this tour, and you kind of create a walking flow. And we were able to add elements and talk about things that aren't always talked about on the interpreted tour by docents. So objects that might be a little more interesting to somebody to click on. It's been very successful in terms of we have found interns and students from universities across the United States, and even one from Italy, who have found our virtual tour and have used us in papers or a thesis or an internship. So it's kind of unique in terms of access to the general public. We also have downloadable walking tours. So we've got a walking tour on our website that you can download that goes through the history of the canneries in Campbell, and it kind of walks through the downtown corridor. And then we have another downloadable walking tour that if you're ever out in Oak Hill Cemetery in San Jose, it is a walking tour of the McGlinchey murders. So if you're not familiar with the McGlinchey murders, I can fill you in later. But the families who were murdered by James Dunham, the McGlinchey family, are buried in Oak Hill Cemetery. And so it's great for Halloween, but even post-Halloween, it's a fun walking tour. And then right now we are gearing up for the holidays at the Ainsley House, and that itself is considered a exhibit. So every year we rotate out a new theme. This theme is going to be Christmas cravings, so foods or things that you really want over the holidays. We are going to open November 16th, fingers crossed, everything goes okay. And we close December 21st, and we're open Thursday through Sundays from 11 to 3. And that is a big volunteer push, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then offsite, we also have 2 more exhibit locations right here in City Hall. If you exit and turn to your right, there actually is an exhibit case, and we rotate out every year smaller exhibits in that case. And that right now is on rural free delivery. So Campbell's role in getting mail delivered to houses. And then at Heritage Theater, if you go see a production at Heritage Theater, we've got a small little exhibit case, and right now that's on camera. So a little bit of kind of a different micro themes instead of larger historical themes. We also have a temporary exhibit up at Heritage Theater. We've been working with the League of Women Voters, and so we installed their exhibit on the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote. It was a little post-COVID. It was supposed to go up in 2020, but we've kept it up because the League of Women Voters and the theater said they've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. So next slide. Education at the Historical Museum. I am happy to say, since we reopened in March, we have been able to resume our hands-on history field trip program. It's how I started at the museum as the first educator working and running the program. It's kind of my baby, and I love it. It's for 2nd and 3rd graders, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It is just a great opportunity for students to explore history in a really fun, hands-on way. And so the students rotate through our exhibits. We've got 4 exhibits. They do 4 rotations where they get to kind of listen to a little mini tour, do an activity that is a kind of explains about that exhibit, and then they get to make and take something One of the activities is they have a picnic because we have to incorporate a snack because they're of the snack age. And it's just really fun. It's great to see classes resuming. We weren't sure how things would pick up post-COVID. It's definitely slower than what it was, but I am confident we are building up the program again. I have not brought back the formal Ainsley House field trip program. That just required 2 staff people every time we ran the program. I have done informal tours for schools that used to come to the field trip, have come for years and just kind of know what's expected. And so I've worked with some docents to run those. And that's been kind of fun as well. We do have 4 rentable history trunks that teachers can rent. They're not as popular and probably need to be updated a little bit because I think I created them about 15 years ago. The Ohlone one is the most popular. We've got an Ohlone, a Pioneer, a Immigration, and Orchards and Canneries. And so the rentable trunks are rented to a class for $60. They contain a full curriculum guide for teachers, large images for people to look at, and hands-on items for kids to touch, and then media, whether it's video or audible things to listen to. But those are really fun. They've also gone out to adult education groups and senior groups as well, especially with memory loss. And then we also do online research. So I would say during the week, we get at least 1 or 2, if not more, emails or calls about research requests. And those are anything from families to houses to people to questions. And so that's why it's been really helpful to get some of our online collections so people can do some of the legwork and then contact us. It's myself and then the museum collection specialist, Anna Rosenbluth, and we both kind of work hard to get those questions answered. Next slide. I'm not sure why these turned black, but we'll go with it. So volunteers, this is kind of the core of the Campbell Museums. And without our volunteers, we literally could not do what we do. And so we have right now 50 active volunteers, and this is the span of what we have for our volunteer corps. We have our greeters who welcome guests to both museums, docents who interpret the tours at the Ainsley House, garden volunteers who take care of all of the plantings, not the grounds, but the plantings at the Ainsley House and make it look lovely for events and weddings. Special event volunteers, so they help set up, take down, supervise, run guest lists, serve wine at all of our special events. Our museum foundation board, which I'll talk about in a second, is an entirely separate volunteer group, but they also put in a lot of work. We've got collection volunteers. We have right now a couple of really core, invaluable collection volunteers who have just been doing some amazing background work for us. One of them, I'm convinced, is going to write the addendum to kind of Campbell's Bible, the Orchard City. He's going to write the second half of the book because that book kind of ends in 1980. Well, a lot of time has passed, and so he's been doing a lot of research in kind of Campbell's modern history. I'm always recruiting. We can never have enough volunteers because people come and go, they take vacations, schedules get in the way. We are open more and more. We're trying to do more and more events. So I am constantly trying to recruit and train volunteers. The benefits of volunteering are many. You give back to your community, you help keep history alive, as Sharon can attest to. We go on field trips, we have potlucks, we do discussion groups, you get a discount in the store, you get free invite to our events, so it is really fun. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. So next slide. So Campbell Museum Foundation, I just want to make a point of acknowledging this group. So they are a volunteer group, the museum, but they are also an independent 501c3. They're really kind of the fundraising friends group of the Campbell Museums. And so they're the ones we've gone to summer concerts, are serving the concessions to help fundraise for the museum. Inside the carriage house is a gift shop. The Museum Foundation runs that gift shop. And so the proceeds from The sales of the boutique items go to support the Campbell Museums. Also, we're coming up on the holidays, and our holiday teas are another incredibly large fundraiser for the foundation, as well as some garden concerts. And typically they will do fall fundraisers, but COVID kind of has thrown things into a wrench. So we're trying to get back on track with that. The Museum Foundation really does help offset some operational costs for the museum. So they offer exhibit support. They offer scholarships for schools to come on field trips, especially right now coming back from COVID. Busing is incredibly expensive, and parent drivers are being cut out of school districts. So offering schools scholarships in order to come on the field trips is incredibly important. And then preservation assistance. I mean, without the foundation, some of the preservation projects we simply could not have done. If you've walked past the Ainsley House, last year we had the front door restored, and it's just remarkable the work that was done, and the foundation did help provide funding for that. They also have bought exhibit cases for us, and so they continue to be just a really great provider of support as well. All right, next slide. Museum events. So the events are kind of hosted by two different entities, whether it's city-sponsored events, which mean museum events by staff, or museum foundation events. They're really symbiotic because they both take place at the same location. And I usually help out at all of them, and our volunteers help out at all of them. So there's really kind of cross-pollination, but where the funding goes really is kind of how we designate who does what event. So museum events that are hosted by the city entity as a museum. I do a history happy hour lecture series. We've got one on Friday. And those are really fun. They're happy hour, so it's 5:30 to 7:30. We have somebody giving a talk. You're done by 7:30, ready to go have dinner. I'll finish my final one for fall this Friday, as I said, but we'll come back in spring and have some more. We just hosted a Halloween event on Sunday. It was our Creepy Crawly Craft. We used to call it Spooky Night, but decided to brand it with the city's Creepy Crawly event, which is good and bad. We had close to 300 people attend, which was way more than we were ready to handle. So it was a success of our own making, but really fun, great families. Surprisingly, we didn't even run out of supplies. We did have to go run for more candy, but that happens. But it was really a fun event. So we will definitely be back next year doing that. I love the Halloween events. We do some family event at the Historical Museum in the summer. We did one in conjunction with Parks and Rec Month. Thank you. We had Commissioner there helping out. And so that's always fun just to kind of meet families in the summer, do some crafts. We are air conditioned, so it's a great place to come. We are also going to host Santa the first Saturday in December. So we have Santa coming to the Ainsley House. And then we do our evening holiday open houses. And those are by far my favorite events we ever do at the museum. People get to walk through the house on their own at night, which is a remarkable way to see the Ainsley House just all lit up for the holidays. And then we have live music in the living room. When Chris Shaheen plays, he plays every year. He's a local musician that runs his school out of the community center. He always does Christmas sing-alongs. So that is really fun just to get a group of people and they come and sing. And our museum foundation really pushes their holiday boutique, which is going inside the Ainsley House, and that is an opportunity for gift shopping for the holidays. So really fun. The museum foundation events are garden concert series. So we are going to be hosting another series this spring. So they take place on a Sunday in the Ainsley Garden. The foundation does 3 in spring, 3 in fall. Only this fall we didn't do them, but typically we do 3. And they are not so much rock and roll like the summer concert series. They're much more kind of jazz, blues, folk, but really talented musicians. So we've got a great lineup this spring. Holiday teas, as I mentioned. The foundation will do some fundraising events, whether those are, we've done murder mysteries in the past or big fundraisers at the community center. And then the foundation also works in partnership with other community groups. And so sometimes those fundraising events are a partnership as well. So you can see some of the pictures right there. So next slide. Have to talk about the Ainsley Garden. If you're not familiar, the back of the garden, we do rentals. So we do weddings, but we also do baby showers, birthday parties, graduations, memorials. If you want to host an event, we can provide the space for you. I kind of call it an a la carte event space because we really provide the grounds and the renters have to bring everything in themselves. So tables, chairs, decorations, etc. But it is a lovely space. It is well maintained by cities. Oopsie. As well as our volunteer garden corps who meets every Tuesday at 9 a.m. They do a great job tending to the flowers. And our rental season is May through October because we are outdoor only. All right, so next slide. All right, so ways to support the museum. What can you do? All right, so you can visit the museums. If you have never visited or it's been years since you've been in the museum, I recommend coming. The Historical Museum and the Ainsley House are both open traditionally Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 11 to 3. Only as we move into the holidays, the Ainsley House will be open an additional day, and that will be on a Thursday. And that's because during the holidays, November 16th through December 21st, we don't do interpreted tours at the Ainsley House. We do self-guided tours. So visitors can walk through the house on their own. Come into the gift shop. If you have never been into the carriage house to buy a gift, we've got lots of great products. We have some Campbell branded stuff as well. We've got books. We've got our demographic kind of skews more towards women, but you know, we're trying. You can follow us on our website, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Campbell Museums. Just spread the word. If you have people in town or you know people who are visiting or your friends are looking for something to do, recommend us. We are a great place to visit when it's hot, when it's cold, if you're looking for something to do, and it doesn't mean that it has to be boring. We have lots of hands-on items in the Historical Museum if you're bringing kids or adults. And it is surprising the age range that we get, and everybody loves to play with something. You can become a museum member. We have membership options that is run through a museum foundation. Members do get benefits. You do get free tickets to our events, discount on the gift shop. The benefit of supporting history in Campbell. You can advocate for the museum. We always need people to speak up for us. And we also love donations, whether that is monetary or time, like volunteering, or if you have items in your house or you know family members who you think, well, maybe that has some relevance to history, or maybe this is an object that the museum could use. Definitely give us a call. We won't always take everything. We do have a limited space, but we are happy to take a look and see if it's something that we can add to our collection. Okay, last slide, or second to last slide, I should say. So ways that you can become involved now, even more focused. So we are definitely recruiting greeters, as Sharon knows. We need greeters, and greeters are the front line at both museums. The Ainsley House, it does take a little more tech. It's running an iPad because you are processing store sales. The Historical Museum, right now, we don't have a lot of tech. It's just turning on a TV and counting cash, but it really is a great way to meet the public and see what people are interested in or meet people who are traveling from out of town. I do provide all training and we shadow until people feel ready. We are definitely recruiting garden volunteers. So our garden crew is getting older and they need some new blood and some help. So if you know anybody who has Tuesday mornings free, it doesn't have to be every Tuesday. It can become occasional. We are definitely looking for gardeners. We are also looking for a judge. We are going to, we're closing in a couple weeks our Campbell Juried Art Show, which is a public art show. It's open to youth and adults for 2D and 3D art. And once we close submissions, we will be seeking judges from the community. And we like to have 3 judges. And what the job entails is looking through all the art submissions and helping us choose the appropriate pieces that go with the theme. And the theme this year is community. And then the pieces will be installed in the carriage house in March, and the exhibit will run through October. So it's not hard, but it's fun, and it's kind of neat to look at different submissions. We definitely are recruiting for holiday event volunteers. We need help at the teas. We need help supervising the house and the boutique, and even the open houses, which are really fun, I guarantee it. We also need help during our garden concerts in the spring. You get to hear some amazing music. So we're talking Grammy level winners. So definitely that's fun. Or join the Museum Foundation Board. That is a great way to really help the museum and really be effective as well in helping the community work on projects. So you can always contact me. If you can't find me on the Campbell website, there's my email, carriep@campbellca.gov. Natasha can always pass on my email. I am open to phone calls, texts, or emails, or in person. You can show up. And then last slide is thank you for listening. Yes. All right. Questions, comments? It's a lot, I know.
The art, the 3D, 2D art, who are the submissions from?
It's the public. So
Okay, so
anybody,
all
anyone
ages
in
and-
Santa Clara County is that we're open to. We have had a couple people in the past that have been from San Mateo County. The age range is really 7 to 17 or 6 to 17 and then 18 plus. There are some parameters to what we can take in terms of flat pieces, 2D pieces, 3D pieces. We generally don't get a large volume. You have a really good chance of winning if you submit 3D pieces. And then we also open after the judges have chosen their pieces and we've installed the exhibit, then we open that exhibit up to public jury. And so we have voting as the public tours the exhibit. Winners of the 2D, adult winners of the 2D, or winner of the 2D gets their piece turned into a large mural that currently hangs on, I'm pointing this way because that's a historical museum. And if you're driving Civic Center Drive West, look on the masonry wall of the museum and you'll see the large mural of the adult winner from last year, from 2022. Youth winners get their piece turned into a mural that we have hanging in City Hall. And so it's beautiful. So it's there's a bonus. It's not monetary, but it's exposure for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very informative. December PRC meeting?
PRC meeting as well as the January PRC meeting to discuss with the commission this evening. The December meeting, we wanted to confirm that plans and timing for everybody as it be near the holidays that would work, and the 7 o'clock time frame worked for everybody prior to moving forward. And then for the January one, which is our next item, wanted to just determine if the commission wanted to cancel that meeting because it's shortly after we return back. If we wanted to have a meeting in January, our suggestion would be to cancel that January 3rd and do it on a different date in January. Alternatively, you could just simply cancel. So these two are just up for discussion for the commission to figure out what works best with schedules so that we have a quorum and can move forward.
Does anybody have issues with the December 3rd meeting at 7, same time? Or 6, I'm sorry, December 6th.
I won't be here.
You won't be,
December 6th.
but you have forum?
I will not be here. I'll be in Barcelona for 2 weeks.
So
Are you stepping down?
That's my last meeting, yes.
Oh, you're done?
Are you sure? Oh, yeah. I'm sure. It's 8 years.
Yeah, we'll see.
Surprise, Bob. If I can say.
I'm glad that came out, but so Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. It was great. Well, if he comes, we still have a forum. Are there issues that we need to discuss?
More than likely, I would have another division of the recreation department come, and then any other items. We would probably recommend canceling January, and then with February doing work plans and budget discussions.
Yes.
So.
So keep December.
I finally found it too.
And website says something different. It's a year's from it says your term is up in December of 24. So we'll have to talk with the clerk.
I think that is true. You and I are up at the same time, December 24, because you and I renewed our last term together. I'm almost certain.
I know it's been 8 years. Figure it out.
Okay, we'll follow up with. the
I
clerk.
thought we
We didn't post it because we don't think we have anybody expiring this year.
because mine also is December 24, correct? And I think we did that
And
this
Alan.
last. And Alan.
I heard a good night or goodbye speech.
Well, you're not off the hook that easily, dude, but you can't be off the hook to be in Barcelona in December.
You can give your sign and then come back.
So if nothing is for changing for December, we can
We'll move
table
forward.
that, we can move forward to the January
And
meeting.
then, does somebody want to make a motion to cancel the January meeting?
I would like to move that we cancel the January meeting and continue to have the December meeting as scheduled.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Any abstains?
Perfect.
So
So
while you have that open, when does my term expire?
December of 25, according to the website. So we will confirm all
that
terms.
is right.
Because at this point, we don't show any terms expiring in 23. We have the 3 and 24 that Natasha mentioned. We have Sherry and Frank in December of 25, and Tina and Sharon in December of 26.
could you just, yes. Okay, and now we're PRC photo. What's that?
This is in preparation for the commissioners' dinner, which hopefully you all have received.
We did receive an invitation.
I believe that is November
29th.
27th.
Monday after
27th?
Thanksgiving,
It is. It's the first day back after your long weekend.
yes.
So as any of you who have attended before,
It's gonna be
So it's the
something different.
27th.
It hasn't been in a long time.
you know what? You're taking all
Oh.
my spiel. I'm kidding.
Sorry.
I don't have a spiel. Any of you that have attended in the past will know that there is a slideshow that talks about each. There's a photo and there's some we put some bullet points up there about maybe each commission's major accomplishments were. But it's really nice. And you are correct in that this event has rotated over the many years that we have
Yes.
done this, right? I remember
Yes.
we had it at Orchard City Kitchen one year, a long
Yes,
time ago.
yes.
It
We
was at-
had it at.
Willard
it was
Hicks,
at Willard Hicks,
a
even
couple
before It
times.
was called Willard Hicks, but
It was
the
at
restaurant.
Kyoto Palace.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
this
yeah.
year,
Because Evan
we at
Lowe was
Villa
there.
Ragusa.
Yes, and it has been at Villa Ragusa
It
before
has,
as well.
yeah.
And they had it at the culinary.
That's right. It was
That's
at the
right,
Culinary
at the Culinary
Institute.
That is
Institute.
correct.
A lot of fun.
That one was actually really fun. Yeah.
All right, so we need to take a photo.
Yeah, so all that being said,
You could-
I'm stalling for Natasha to come up here and take your photo.
Oh, boy.
At Alan.
my.
Somewhere.
Are we gonna Photoshop Alan in?
Why don't you guys?
Oh, take
sit
sit?
down, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay. We'll sit. Not too close. Water bottle. Oh.
What?
Do we get to approve that photo?
Okay. That's good
Okay.
enough. You have something. to
Thank
choose
you. Okay, now we're on to committee reports. Parks and Creek Trail, Chair Teeter.
Just very briefly, I actually did get on the Creek Trail, but I didn't see the new stuff, so I went the other way. I went north. And, I mean, it's still looking good. I know you're gonna be working on it. But the one thing I did notice are the homeless camps tend to be on that side. So like by Creek side, there's one homeless camp, and then when you get to Lee Avenue, where I think it becomes San Jose, there's quite a few homeless camps on the other side, and only one on the Campbell side.
We actually have two camps right now. We have that one there. We have
Other than that, lots of good use of, hikers and joggers. And fall colors, it's very nice. Anybody else go on any?
I went out on, I actually did run along the trail, not on the fun run, but the day before and on the new path. Yes, so it's bright and shiny compared to what it was. Trees, Chair Fidrich,
Trees are looking good. Nothing.
nothing to report. Special events, the Oktoberfest just happened. I don't know if anybody else, I volunteered on that Friday handing out bibs.
And I was there Saturday. And
Saturday.
it was very well run.
I did go to Oktoberfest. I don't know who does the mugs for Oktoberfest, the beer steins. We went and we decided, okay, well, we're gonna support, we'll buy a beer stein. And I grabbed the beer stein, the person handing me my beer stein. I went to walk away from the booth and the cup broke away from the handle and shattered all over the ground. Scared, I mean, I hadn't even had a sip of beer at that point, but it definitely startled everybody around us. But they said that was not the first, like multiple, it happened to multiple people. Yeah, so.
It's the Chamber of Commerce. it's
Yeah,
not the
okay,
city.
so I don't know if anybody talks to them, but it was dangerous. Like if I had a little child, those things are pretty heavy. If I had a little child underneath me, it would have knocked them it would have conked them on the head. So just to FYI. But yeah, Oktoberfest was beautiful. I mean, they had a beautiful weekend. That was really nice for the fun run and for the actual Oktoberfest event. And then the only other thing I was gonna bring up is the commissioner's dinner, which is the Monday, the 27th. And it is a fun event if you guys can make it. There's usually a giveaway and everybody got their invitations though, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That's it that I have for special events. Staff reports, parks.
Okay, we will start off with Bob Jasinski, Park Supervisor. And then I'll have a few things to add right after that as well.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to be here. Just want to let you know that a few weeks back, we did a search for a new city arborist or arborist position after a large interview process, including external raters. We've whittled it all the way down to our own in-house person, and he's accepted the position that started last Monday. So it's really great to get that new staff person on board. And in addition, we have a young talented person who's going to be backfilling our internal candidate. The new arborist is Abel Zaragoza. The new acting lead worker from his position is Miguel Monroy Avalos. So we're real excited about these administrative changes, staffing changes. Summer is gone, pretty much, and the leaves are here and the weeds are coming. So we're transitioning from mowing lawns and picking up litter and garbage cans and barbecue grills. We're still doing that. It's much less, and we're going to be focusing on weeds and leaf control. That's a very important part. Some of you may have noticed at the football stadium at the community center that there's some torn up turf. And I just want to let you know that's from the grubs that nibble on the roots of the plant. The crows think that grubs are delicious. They come by and create even more havoc than the actual grubs do. In addition, skunks and raccoons and other animals eat that. Yes.
Gotta go to the summer winds and my nematodes. That will get rid of the grubs and that will get on much better. We've done it in our backyard.
I will take that under consideration.
We had raccoons come into our backyard. picking up the lawn.
I thank you for that. I'm sure we can find some. Let's see. In an effort to keep our parks and staff, our park areas safe, we've purchased 25 yards of gold fine, which actually adds up to 50 tons of gold fine. Gold fine's that powdery material that you can make pathways out of. You can put them under picnic tables. And so once in a while you have to come in there and refresh that area. So we did that at the community center over by the playground that's near the main field. In addition, we hired our contractor, Jet Mulch, to apply more fiber, which is engineered wood fiber, to make sure that when children fall in the playground, they fall on a surface that is safe as can be. So we made sure that all the levels of that were at the right height. Finally, out at Morley Park, we have a beautiful pond system with a little creek. I don't know if you guys have been out there. Well, we have a group of volunteers that are rebuilding the raised walkway over that. And last week they started. They've done about 16 feet of the approximately 140 feet of walkway that we're going to do, replacing with all new boards, strengthening underneath. And you guys are all invited to come out and take a look or stop by this coming, not this Sunday, the following Sunday, and see what your volunteers are doing in the city. Does anybody have any park maintenance questions?
Where was that? What park were you?
Morley?
Oh, Edith Morley. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
A couple things to add. I think many of you are aware that we recently completed the Virginia Park renovation project, and we did have a dedication event there back on October 12th. We had at least one park commissioner there. We had two. We had two. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't turn all the way around. If you haven't been there, it's certainly worth taking a look at. So I would encourage you all to do that. Heard a little bit earlier from Ron Taormina about how much work our crews have been doing, and you've heard some other folks talk about the Oktoberfest and the fun run. I just wanted to give a little shout out to all of the park and street maintenance crews that help support the fun run setup, but also supported the closing of the streets to support the Oktoberfest event. That's kind of a double thing. They come in late Friday night, early Saturday morning to shut down the roads, and then they do it all again on Sunday to open the streets up for Monday morning.
Sense.
They do have it kind of down. They're a well-oiled machine, but it is work, and it's folks coming in on their otherwise off time. So that's a nice job that they do with that. On not quite a park project, but I would like to call to your attention that any of you that are familiar with what we affectionately call Old Camden Avenue, which is officially still called Camden Avenue, but it's not the portion up top that connects to the expressway. This is the portion down below that connects to Winchester, kind of a little more of an industrial area, the way you would access Timber Cove. We're doing a pavement rehab project down there now. That road was probably one of the worst roads in the city in terms of pavement condition. But as part of that, we are providing a continuous sidewalk all along the east side of that, where there wasn't one before. So the sidewalk will now go from Winchester all the way to the end of Camden, which for those of you that know the Creek Trail well, know that there is a connection to the Creek Trail in there. So that's why I'm bringing this up, because something that you can look for maybe the next time you're out on the Creek Trail, and you might want to try an alternate route to get there. But what it really does, aside from improve the road, it improves the area for pedestrians and gives a little bit better access to the Creek Trail. And then lastly, if you all have not been invited yet, and you may very well have been, We will be conducting the library groundbreaking project on Friday, November 10th at 10 a.m. The first, hey, I heard that. The first, the first, yes. Yeah, just about 5 years ago. So that is the first of the two major projects that has been awarded. Our contractor is on board. We've issued a notice to proceed. You may see the fences, their actual construction fences go up slightly before that event. You may see them go up slightly after the event. So we're trying to time our groundbreaking event with the actual start of work. So you will see work on the library starting very soon. And before you ask, the PD project will be discussed by council next Tuesday night to talk about the funding. And we do have some funding issues to discuss on the police building project. If that discussion goes well, we'll be awarding the police project at the following council meeting, which would be November 21st. So that's where we stand with the two major Measure O projects. Any questions on any of those?
I agree with her.
Yes, it's moving.
That's exciting.
I third that.
There was a pandemic in there. Okay, but let me remind you.
Well, we started talking about the library renovations like.
The library came in $1.8 million under the estimate. Yeah. That is not true for the PD project. Hence the need for the discussion next Tuesday night. Yeah, and I should add, I guess on that note, you are all familiar with Measure O, and it provided $50 million. What you may not know is there's $9 other million coming to that project that we have received through grants and other funding sources. Most notably, we have applied for a $4.7 million grant for the library, which we got from the state, and we are bringing $3.9 million also from the state for the police project, largely for the FF&E and the backup generator. But those two alone are almost $9 million right
That's
there.
substantial.
Yeah, so that kind of, that's almost a 20% increase in what we're bringing to those two projects. And so they are moving forward.
Good job.
Yes, thank you.
Yay.
That's really what I was going.
That's exciting. And now we're moving on to recreation community service report.
Right, so thank you to those of you who volunteered for the Oktoberfest Fun Run. It was a great event. There was 500 people in the 5K, 10K race, and we had almost 70 kids in the kids dash. So great event. Love to see more of you out there. So please mark your calendars for the Valentine Fun Run, which will be held on February 10th. Next up, the Adult Center, they're hosting a 50+ social dance this Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Grab a friend, enjoy some music, dancing, light snacks. You don't have to dance, but you can sit and just listen to the music. So it's live music by Simon Santiago's Bro Show. Tickets are on sale in our office or online through Friday. If you're an Adult Center member, it's $7. For non-members, it's $10. At the door, it will be $20. But they have quite a few people already, like 60 or 70 people already signed up for the event, so it should be a good time to try out. Napoleon Dynamite will be screening at the Heritage Theater tomorrow night, November 2nd. So there'll be some outdoor activities beginning at 6 p.m. There's a food truck. Have you guys seen Napoleon Dynamite? So his favorite food were tater tots. So there's a food truck coming that does loaded tater tots. They'll have a llama outside for some photo ops. There's VIP tickets that can be purchased in addition to the movie ticket, where you do a meet and greet with John Heder, Efren Ramirez, and John Grease. So after the screening of the movie starts at 8, and afterwards the 3 actors will be on stage for a Q&A, live interactive with the audience. So it should be pretty entertaining. Those 3 are, Efren just did a YouTube shout out about the Heritage Theater and being there and all this stuff. So we've been kind of tagging that on our social media. So should be fun. As Carrie mentioned, the Historical Museum is hosting a History Happy Hour this Friday, November 3rd from 5:30 to 7:30. It'll feature The Valley of the Heart's Delight, True Tales from Around the Bay Area with author Robin Chapman. Tickets are $15, and there's just a few tickets left for that. And as she mentioned, the Ainsley House is open for holiday tours beginning on November 16th, and the theme is Christmas cravings. I do highly recommend going to one of their evening open houses. I don't have the dates in front of me, but when those get posted, as she said, they're pretty fun to go and just tool around in the evening with all the twinkle lights and everything. It's a really nice event. And the foundation is hosting their holiday teas starting on December 1st, and those tickets can be purchased at campbellmuseums.com. And she did mention the juried art show. So they're accepting art through December 18th, and the theme is community. So on the recreation side, we are bringing back our pass system. So lap swim passes will be returning in January, as well as our weight room. So there'll be two separate passes. And like before, it was kind of one pass. You buy it for a unique item that you're planning to use. They're not transferable amongst each other. And then our winter spring 2024 activity guide goes to print next week and should be hitting mailboxes right around Thanksgiving. We will have our registration for the January through May timeframe on December 5th for our residents, and it'll open on December 6th. So as soon as Christmas goes, then we'll be planning summer. So that's how we operate. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you. Now we're moving on to good of the game. Do you have anything?
Well, I will be here for the dinner because I'll be on a plane, but so we'll see you guys. Happy holidays.
Okay,
It's kind of hard
yeah.
to say happy holidays.
I know. Is
Is
anybody else planning on going to the dinner?
I can't go.
No, are you going to the?
I'm gonna go.
You're gonna go, okay.
I won't be here
You won't be,
either.
yeah, I'll go, you go.
Okay.
Okay. I don't want to be Lone Ranger.
We'll be there. You won't
Okay,
be
cool.
alone.
Okay, you guys will be, we drank wine at, we drank good wine together at Willard Hicks. Take that off the.
Write that part down.
I know, don't write that part down.
Recording, it's fine.
Hey, it's true. Okay, we're adjourning at 8:16. Our next meeting will be December 6th. At 7 p.m. For those of you who are available.